kooperatibismoa zer den baino gehiago, zein den bere ekarpena, zein beharko lukeen izan ekarpen horrek, beti ere jomugan gizartea dugularik. Beraz, egin dezagun jolas. Rosak ere aipatu du lehen, bakarren batzuk ohitura izango duzu oraindik fresko xamarra, lego piezekin jolastekoa. Esan dugu lan hau eraikuntza lan batela eta berriro zentzu fisiko eta metaforikoan horixe egingo dugu jarraian, metodologia zehatz bati jarraiki. Daniel, Bea y Ollana, que están por aquí, de Coach and Play, podéis acercaros. Se van a encargar de dirigir el trabajo de esta mañana. Les voy a ceder toda la responsabilidad de ocupar el espacio y de que nos dirijan hacia la metodología. Claro que el interés, el compromiso, las aportaciones van de la mano de la casa. Es decir, todos nosotros y nosotras tenemos que implicarnos en esta construcción porque, como suele ocurrir en muchas cosas en la vida, no hay una respuesta ni evidente ni lógica. Por lo tanto,
una gran verdad ni nada de eso.
Por lo tanto, lo importante, y solamente digo esto, es que participemos, que de verdad aprovechemos esta oportunidad para que la construcción que cada mesa quiera aportar sea lo más rica posible. Beraz, zuen esku,
eskerrik asko, Pilar.
Aurrera.
Bueno, egunon, gure izenean Coach and Play izenean eskerrik asko gurekin gaur izateagatik eta hurrengo orduetan saiatuko gara guztion artean, alde batetik zuen ezagupenak eta elkar banatzen eta, bagitzinez beste bizio bat sortzen eta guztion artean zeintzu diran orain kooperativismoa dituen erronkak aztertzen eta ez ari bat zer egin behar den hori lortzeko, baizik eta zelan egin behar diren gauzak hori lortzeko, ¿vale? Decía que muchas gracias por estar aquí, encantados por habernos invitado. Un rato de juego. Ahora explicamos qué es esto, que nadie se nos asuste, que las fichas no muerden, con lo cual no hay ningún problema. Y no vale que, yo no he jugado nunca, o yo no hace falta nada de eso, ¿vale? Con lo cual, de eso estar tranquilos. Decía que vamos a hacer mediante la metodología del Lego, sobre todo compartir. Porque si alguien tiene conocimiento, y si alguien tiene visión, y si alguien vive en primera persona el cooperativismo, sois vosotros. Entonces, uno, compartir. Y dos, también construir conjuntamente para intentar identificar cuáles son los retos que los próximos años va a tener el cooperativismo. Y no tanto trabajar el qué hay que hacer para hacer frente a esos retos, sino el cómo debemos hacer las cosas para hacer frente a esos retos, ¿vale?
Good morning, everyone. Today we are here with the main purpose of playing. To share the play all together. And it's not so important what we are going to do, but how we are going to do it. So, welcome and enjoy.
Baten batek euskara zuzendu, gero bakoitzak bere mailan ari ingo dela. Orduan, erderaz egongo da Bea, en castellano Bea será un poco la persona referente, en euskera seré yo, en inglés será Ollana, ¿vale? Estaremos los tres por todo el lado, pero bueno, la idea es como tenemos ese valor del trilingüismo, vamos a ponerlo también en valor, ¿vale? Os explicamos muy brevemente qué es esto del Lego, de dónde nace. Cuando digo brevemente es muy brevemente y nos ponemos a jugar, ¿vale? Hace como 25 años, más o menos, cuando salen las primeras Nintendo, Game Boy y todas estas maquinitas, Lego hace una bajada increíble de ventas, ¿vale? Y en ese momento se plantea dos cosas. Uno, o traemos a alguien de fuera a que salve este marrón, o sea, un consultor gurú que nos saque adelante, o somos nosotros internamente los que sacamos adelante la empresa.
All right, the history of Lego basically is 25 years ago when the Nintendo started and other games like that, Lego went down, the sales of Lego, and somebody came out to sort this situation out.
Entonces, en aquel momento deciden trabajar internamente y hacer una metodología que la hacen tan bien, que hoy en día son marca número 1 del mundo. El año pasado fue junto a Apple la marca más valorada y valiosa. Quiero decir, y aquella metodología que usaron en la empresa la cruzan con la universidad, creando un método científico, ¿vale?
Somebody came up with a scientific method. Today, Lego with Apple is one of the companies that has grown up quicker.
Vale. Y digo método científico, entre comillas, no porque hay ningún tipo de fórmula química detrás, pero sí porque hay una serie de principios que son fundamentales y que son en lo que se basa la metodología. Uno, en el juego. Está demostrado científicamente que nadie nunca en la vida se olvida de jugar. Aunque tengamos 120 años, nadie se olvida de jugar. Y que lo que se aprende jugando se convierte en experiencia. Es decir, no hay mejor manera de aprender que jugando.
There are three principal bases. The first one is that we never forget playing. Okay, we start playing when we are children, but we don't forget about it. To play is a method of learning things about us and about everybody else. Very, very good.
2, y solo os pido que este rato nos creáis. Luego podéis decir, madre mía, qué frikis han traído a Forokoop. Pero solo os pido que estas 3 horitas nos creáis. Está demostrado científicamente que los dedos están conectados directamente con el cerebro. De ahí que hoy intentamos construir con lo que somos, no con lo que decimos ser, ¿vale? Y os diremos muchas veces, pensar con los dedos, atxamarrekin egin, ez egin buruarekin, ¿vale? Eso vais a oírlo mucho rato porque es real, ¿vale? Eso está demostrado, el 90% de las células de los dedos están conectadas directamente con el cerebro.
Okay, you may think we are crazy, but our fingers are like connected with our brain in a very high percentage, like 80–90%. So today you have to think with your fingers, okay, and just enjoy.
We're going to say every day, in the morning, think with the fingers, not with your head, okay? Y nos haréis caso, porque más que nada que los tiempos son muy cortos y no os va a dar tiempo ni a pensar, ni a negociar, ni a pensar qué vais a construir. Y luego eso, vamos a intentar construir lo que decía, no tanto desde lo que decimos ser, sino de lo que somos. De ahí que los tiempos sean muy rápidos e intentemos conectar con la parte más emocional que racional, ¿vale? Con lo que somos de verdad, no con lo que decimos ser.
Okay, you have to think when you are playing, not so much how you are or what you're here for, but just play, okay? Don't think too much about what you're doing.
Y hasta aquí. Si alguien quiere saber más, luego en el descanso, que haremos un descanso, nos preguntáis o lo que fuera, ¿vale? Normas del juego. Y si no digo esto, reviento, lo siento. Mando yo. ¿Qué quiere decir mando yo? Yo voy a decir el tiempo y el reto. Y en ese tiempo hay que construir ese reto, ¿vale?
Okay, first rule of the game, he's in charge, okay? He's gonna set a time to do it, and what is the challenge? Okay, so you have to obey him.
Para empezar, todo en la mesa sobra. Ni cuaderno, ni bolígrafo. El móvil sí os dejamos porque luego os dejaremos hacer fotos porque os diremos que lo que construyáis hoy no os vais a olvidar dentro de un año lo que habéis construido. O sea, vamos a retar a eso, a que hagáis una foto de lo que construyáis y a que dentro de un año veáis y digáis exactamente lo que habéis construido, aunque no nos creáis ahora.
Okay, so please, now you must put away everything you have in the table, but the game pieces.
Quitamos todo de la mesa, cuadernos, danak endu maitik, bolígrafoak bakarrik eskua behar dugu eta fitxak, ¿vale? Quitamos todo de la mesa. Solo ni cuaderno, ni bolígrafo. ¿Vale? Y lo que decíamos, vamos a pensar con los dedos. Venga, hecho. Vale, podéis tocar las fichas.
Okay, you can touch the pieces.
Ver
okay?
que hay Lego simple, Lego duplo, hay diferentes fichas y en medio hay unas planchas, cada uno puede coger una plancha, ¿vale?
All right, in the middle there is a plate. You can get one.
Podéis coger las planchas que queráis. Podéis mover sin problema las fichas. Okay? Just we are going to build the tallest tower of the table, okay? Eraiki behar dugu bakoitzak berea, bakoitzak bere plantxan, maiko torrerik altuena. Hay que construir la torre más alta de la mesa. Esperar. Que he dicho que mandaba yo. Que no empecemos con la torre. Don't start, please. Wait a minute. Okay? I want to say when start and when finish. Vamos a construir la torre más alta de la mesa. ¿Vale? Cada uno la suya.
¿Lo digo?
Sí.
Okay, you have to build the tallest tower on the table, okay?
Okay, you have only 1 minute.
Each one his tower. O sea, cada uno así.
You have only 1 minute. Tenéis 1 minuto. Empieza ya. La torre más alta de la mesa.
The highest tower on the table.
Torre y alta. Michael Toreric, bye. Yes. Yes, one is. The highest tower of the table. La torre más alta de la mesa.
Yes, it's one of you.
50 segundos.
It's one of you.
Torre y alta.
No, cada una la suya. O sea, it's one of you. You have to build one. You have to build
You
one.
have to build your own tower.
Everyone's right.
It's an individual.
30 seconds. Hogeita más segundo. 30 segundos. La torre más alta. Ah, y voy a soplar, ¿eh? No hagáis una mierdita de torre.
He's going to blow the tower, so it's gotta be a good one.
15 segundos. 10 seconds. 10 segundos.
And your tower, where is it?
5. Iru. Back. Tiempo. Tiempo. Arriba las manos, como Masterchef. Arriba las manos. Tiempo. Stop. Stop. Ok. Vale, mirar. Primera cosa importante del Lego. Esencial. ¿Hay alguna torre igual en vuestra mesa?
Okay. First important thing about Lego. Is there any tower on the table that looks like other?
¿Y hay alguna que se parezca a otra? Depende para quién. ¿Vale?
Sí. Do you see another tower that looks like yours, or all of them seem different?
Vale, esto es la parte más importante del Lego. Habéis tenido el mismo tiempo. Habéis tenido las mismas fichas en la mesa. Alguien me dirá, es que no llegaba. Bueno, haberte levantado. Habéis tenido el mismo reto. Y cada uno construye lo que quiere y lo que entiende. ¿Vale? Y nadie podría decir que lo demás no... con el número ahí. Que lo demás no es una torre. ¿Vale?
Okay, there is a very important thing here. All of you have the same time for doing the challenge, okay? You are in the same table with the same pieces, but nobody's tower looks like other tower.
Hori da gauza garrantzitsuena, bale? Aukera berdinarekin, denbora berdinarekin eta erronka berdinarekin bakoitzak sortzen da nahi duena. Y ahí no hay ni bueno ni malo, ¿entendido? Soltamos la torre.
Okay. Yeah, put the tower down.
And move all the bricks again. Movemos las fichas. Como os he visto muy habilidosos, vamos a complicarlo un pelín más, ¿vale? Solo un poquitín. He visto que ha habido gente como muy rápida. Vale, vamos a complicarlo un pelín. Vamos a hacer un puente.
Okay, we are going to build up a bridge, okay?
Wait for a minute, ¿eh? No empecemos. Espera un segundo. Tiene que ser el puente más largo de la mesa, con lo cual no hace falta que os ciñáis a la plancha, ¿vale? Podéis saliros de la plancha, porque tiene que ser el puente más largo de la mesa, ¿vale?
Okay, you have to build the longest bridge on the table, and sorry, let me just a second. You can do it as longer as this plate, okay? It doesn't have to be inside. It's the longest bridge.
Bakoitza berea, como antes, cada uno el suyo. Como es más difícil, voy a daros más tiempo. You have 1 minute and 5 seconds. Tenéis 1 minuto y 5 segundos y empieza ya. El puente más largo de la mesa. Puente y largo. 1 minuto, 1 minute. It must be the longest bridge in the table, ¿ok? Subirik luzena. Berrogeita hamar segundu. 45 seconds. Subirik luzena. El puente más largo de la mesa. Y que sea un puente, ¿eh?
It has to be a bridge.
Y que aguante peso. No me hagáis una mierdita de puente. Que aguante peso, ¿eh? 30 segundos. 30 seconds. Maiko zubirik luzeena izan behar da. ...15 segundos...
15 seconds.
Puente y largo...
Ah, fuck.
10...
It's
10.
falling apart. And it doesn't fit.
5...
No, no.
5... 3... 2...
It's a hanging brace.
Back... Démora... Tiempo... Stop, stop... Como esté...
Time out.
Como esté, como esté... Como esté, como esté, stop... It's like... It doesn't matter. Okay, it's okay. Como esté, ¿eh?
I mean,
Vale.
it's hanging.
Chicos, misma pregunta que antes.
That's like a tightrope.
Misma pregunta que antes. ¿Hay algún puente igual en la mesa?
Same question as we did before. Is there any bridge that looks just like other on the table?
No. ¿Alguna que se parezca? Tampoco, ¿verdad? Y ahora viene la otra parte importante del Lego. Your name is? Luisena. Miguel Ángel. ¿Alguien podría decirme que esto que ha hecho Miguel Ángel no es un puente? No. Anyone can tell me that this is not a bridge?
Ay, perdón.
Vale, esta es la parte segunda más importante del Lego. Me vas a perdonar, Miguel Ángel, ¿eh? En vez de pensar, menuda mierda de puente ha hecho Miguel Ángel, el ejercicio de hoy es decir, ostras, ¿qué estará viendo Miguel Ángel aquí para ver un puente donde yo no lo veo? ¿Vale? Imaginaos que dice pues, que aquí hay una plataforma que fuera de cristal, que se abriera, que subiera, que se moviera. Nos da igual. La idea del ejercicio de hoy no es tanto que estemos pendientes de contar mi libro o de ver mi forma de ver el cooperativismo y cuando los demás no estén de acuerdo conmigo, entender que están equivocados, sino hacer el ejercicio de qué estará viendo esa persona que yo no veo, o al revés, qué no está viendo ella que yo sí veo, para pensar eso de esa cosa, ¿vale?
Déjame un poco. All right, what Anna is saying is, nobody can say that this is not a bridge, okay? The second most important part of this game is that we don't have just to see what we are doing, but what others are seeing to build up their bridge, okay? This is very important, to see what the rest can think for building this.
La idea está en que no hay una única forma de entender las cosas, y si preguntáramos, o cuando preguntemos qué entendéis por cooperativismo, efectivamente no habréis dos personas que lo veáis igual. Ez dira mailan egongo bi pertsona berdin ikusten dabezanak, eta justo hori ez da arrisku bat, hori aukera bat da, ¿vale? La idea es que no es una amenaza o un riesgo de que no compartáis una única visión, sino una oportunidad de ampliar mucho más el concepto y de aprender de los demás, ¿vale?
Okay, there are not two people that think the same things, but you don't have to see this like as a threat, but an opportunity to see things in a different way altogether. Okay, like cooperativism.
Vale, soltamos el puente.
Okay. Ay, perdón.
Después.
Miguel Ángel, hijo. Gracias.
Allez, d'accord. On a fait pendant qu'elle parlait, quoi.
Vale, ze egingo dugu orain. Gure burua mailan aurkeztuko dugu. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? Vamos a presentarnos en la mesa quiénes somos. Pero en vez de decir, hola, soy Daniel, vengo de Bilbao y soy de Coach and Play, vamos a construir nuestra presentación, ¿vale?
Okay. Now we are going to introduce ourselves in the table, okay? But instead of saying, hello, my name is Maria, we're gonna make a presentation with what we built. Okay?
¿Vale? Imaginaos que esta es mi presentación, esta es mi pareja, que si me ve igual me dice algo. Me encanta viajar y descubrir cosas nuevas por ahí, me gusta trabajar con la gente y siempre tengo retos, ¿no?
Okay, imagine that this is my presentation, okay? I would say like I would love to travel to exotic places, and my house has leather, things like that, things that represent you.
Vale, entonces vamos a presentarnos desde ahí. ¿Quiénes sois? ¿Qué hacéis? ¿Qué os gusta? ¿Hobbies? ¿Aficiones? Lo que queráis contarnos, ¿vale?
Anything you can tell about yourself, what you like, hobbies, anything, have to be on the plate.
Vale, tenemos 1 minuto y medio
1 minute and a half,
y
okay?
empieza ya, ¿vale?
You can start.
¿Quiénes sois? ¿Qué os gusta? ¿Hobbies? ¿Aficiones? Pensar que cualquier ficha vale para cualquier cosa, ¿vale? Cualquier ficha vale para cualquier cosa. Gente importante.
Any piece is good for anything, okay?
¿Quiénes sois? ¿Qué hacéis? ¿Hobbies? ¿Aficiones? ¿Cuáles son vuestros sueños? ¿Retos?
What are your dreams? What do you do? Who you are? Where you come from? Anything.
What do you like? What do you do? Which kind of people is important for you? Cualquier ficha vale para cualquier cosa, ¿vale?
Any piece is good for any idea you may want to tell us.
Your family and your friends are not in the table, so you can use any bricks, ¿ok? No busquéis ni a vuestra pareja ni a vuestros hijos en la mesa, no están. Pero cualquier ficha vale para cualquier cosa. ¿Quiénes sois? ¿Qué hacéis? ¿Qué os gusta? ¿Qué os mueve? Retos, sueños. Ese secreto inconfesable igual sale en la plancha. 1 minuto.
1 minute left.
Luego no te he conocido tampoco.
Con la gafa no te he conocido antes.
No, Daniel. De Daniel has dicho. El Vizcay. ¿Quiénes sois? ¿Qué hacéis? Cualquier ficha vale para cualquier cosa, ¿vale? ¿A qué os dedicáis? ¿Qué gente hay importante en vuestro entorno? ¿Qué os mueve?
Está guay, ¿eh? Así que la gente
En los últimos 40 segundos.
40 seconds left.
Siempre hay alguna ficha que se pueda poner, siempre hay un matiz importante. Cualquier ficha vale para cualquier cosa. Nunca deis por terminada la plancha, siempre hay algo que podáis poner.
Okay. Don't think it's finished. There is always something else you can.
Beti dago
You
zer
can add
jartzeko
to the plate.
idei garrantzitsuan bat jarri leike azken momentuan, bale? Zeintzu sarie, zeintzu gauza edo garrantzitsuak, zertan ematen duzue denbora. Venga, últimos 20 segundos.
20 seconds left.
Qué poca ficha se oye. Nunca deis por terminada la plancha, siempre hay algún matiz. Pensar con los dedos, no con la cabeza.
Think with your fingers.
Poner fichas. Vamos terminando.
Okay. ¿Cuánto queda?
Vale, según terminéis, todas las fichas que sobren las empujamos para la mitad, ¿vale?
Okay, when you finish all the pieces that you have not used, you put them right in the
middle.
center, okay? In the middle of the table.
Sobran dauzen guztiak aurrera bota, ¿vale? Zuen plantxa libre geratzeko. Todo lo que sobre lo empujamos para el centro. Vale, ¿qué vamos a hacer?
Okay.
Pues cada uno en su mesa va a presentarse, pero no vale tener la plancha así y decir, pues soy Daniel, vengo de Bilbao o lo que fuera. La idea es que tenemos que ir explicando con la mano, con el dedo, qué es cada cosa, ¿vale? A los demás. Esta es mi pareja o mi familia, esto es lo que hago. Si algo no está en la plancha, No se puede poner. Me he olvidado al marido. Bueno, eso no significa que no le queráis, ¿vale? Es simplemente que no aparece en la plancha de hoy. Suele pasar muy a menudo, os lo digo. En el caso de las mujeres, no, fíjate.
All right. Now, the way to introduce yourselves is not like, hello, my name is Soyana. No. You have to use your fingers, okay? Think with your fingers. And you have to say, well, this is my husband, or this is my friend. You cannot talk about anything that is not on the plate, okay? If you forget your couple or your best friend or whatever, cannot talk about it, right?
Vale. Y os pedimos permiso para que todos nos demos permiso a preguntarnos entre nosotros, ¿vale? La idea está en que podamos preguntarnos, pero con una norma básica, que esta sí es la más importante del ego, y es que nunca, 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 y no me canso, nunca se cuestiona a la persona, solo lo construido. Si yo dijera que a mí me gusta, yo qué sé, Lola Flores, alguien puede decir, ¿te gusta un chaval joven? Bueno, es mi vida y es mi gusto, y si me gusta es mi problema. Y lo que decíamos antes, el ejercicio sería, ostras, ¿qué estará viendo Daniel en Lola Flores que yo no veo, no?
Okay.
Por otro ejemplo, digas Lola Flores, que igual no saben quién es Lola Flores.
We are going to give permission to each other, okay, to ask all the questions we want to ask, but we are not going to judge, okay? Whatever the other person wants to say, we are just going to listen, and we can ask anything, but not judging, okay? Whatever we like or our hobbies, or we are free.
Inoiz, ezin da inoiz zalantzan jarri pertsona, bakarrik eraiki duena. Entonces las preguntas tienen que ir dirigidas con lo que ha construido. ¿Qué significa eso? ¿Por qué has puesto el color rojo? ¿Por qué has puesto tal? ¿El tamaño o lo que fuera? ¿Vale?
Okay, the questions have to be about why did you use that color or what that elephant means, but never straight to the person, okay?
¿Vale? Pues cada uno en su mesa. Lo bueno del Lego, aquí no vale que alguien diga, ah, no, yo soy más de escuchar. No, yo también. Aquí todo el mundo tiene que participar y tiene que sentirse cómodo. Es decir, que no os veáis obligados a contar algo que no queráis, sino lo que habéis construido, ¿vale?
Feel comfortable and, of course,
venga, cada uno en su mesa, empezamos.
Whatever you like.
Just I explain what this means?
Yes. No,
Okay.
who you are.
Who I am, yeah. How this
Through your Lego.
So I was born in Canada, and then when I was quite young, sort of 7-8 years old, we moved to the UK. And when I moved to the UK, I always thought, sorry, this hasn't happened yet, but I always thought the grass was greener in Canada, you know. So I was growing up as a teenager in the UK, and I was always like, you know, oh, it will be better, you know, when I go back to Canada, I'll go back to. So when I got older, I actually flew back to Canada, and I realized that actually nowhere is really greener than the other, you know, and actually I had a lot of attachment to the UK. So I came back to the UK, and finally, once this kind of issue in my life was solved, I was able to start climbing the ladder, and now I feel like I've actually built a bridge between the two countries that make up my identity, and that's the story of the Lego.
Okay.
Sorry, but that doesn't really define who you are.
For me, that was an important part of defining who I am. Yeah. Finding a place where I could climb that ladder.
It's his problem. You cannot discuss.
I was just trying to understand. Because the game, as I have understood, is like this has to define who you are.
Yeah.
The way you arrive to be like you are, each of us.
So one of the rules of the game is that you're not actually not allowed to do what you're doing right now. This is one of the rules of the game.
You can explain your
She was just saying that.
idea.
She said, let's try to understand how the person is through the construction.
Okay.
Through the construction.
Yeah.
And he loves gardening
I
the
realized
forest,
that I wasn't
the
just from
green.
one place, I was actually from two, and that enabled me to develop as a person and finally kind of get on with life.
Okay.
Can you stop?
Let's go to the right.
No, but it can be interesting. Maybe you are going to explain better than
No,
him.
never better. Just different.
Different.
Okay, I'm the chairman of our cooperative. This for me is a fair, yes. So this gives light, but it's not rigid. It's not a rigid structure like the fairs are, because it can move. Yes. This motion explains that I somehow push the people in my cooperative to one direction. Yes, I explore and I push and I give the light. How do I do that? In a flexible way. Yes, in a flexible way, because it's like the game we did with the bridge or with the tower. Yes, each of us has one understanding about the world, and there is not one perspective that is right and the other is wrong. Everything should be acceptable if it's inside, let's say, our margins. Yes, acceptable margins. So this is the idea of the flexibility. Yes.
Okay. I live in a flat here, but in the country, close to the coast, I have another house, but it's a greenhouse. This is mine. This is me. I love the seven number. I love it. And I love also the sports. Maybe it's one of the sports. But also I love the animals, all the animals. And also I love visiting different places, and I can see this is a tower to see what is the country, or some very big tower, because it's the best place to see to see the city. Well, speaking about this one, I only take this one, or I only found this one, but it's also to explain that I'm Basque, not Spanish. Because this color, yes, but this color are from Spain, and I am Basque. You understand? There is not as you know, in the Basque country, the colors are green, red, and white. Green, red, and white. Yeah. So we had to break the hands. But it's not possible. Okay. Yeah.
This is the head.
The head.
We switch heads.
Ah.
Now I need your head.
So,
You love the sap.
not particularly. No, see, this is obviously a very metaphorical tableau I've created. A bit of a diorama. You can see all the shipwrecks, the flotsam and jetsam of a shipwreck right here. You can see me clutching for money on a piece of wood surrounded by metaphorical sharks. Could either be evil capitalists or people around me I don't particularly like. Searching maybe for a beach, a small island somewhere where you can find stability in a time of chaotic fluctuations. Also, I'm from an island, which doesn't really inform that much, but is what I have here to work with. I don't like sharks. I don't particularly like money either.
The reason your guy is red?
The reason he's red is that I'm from a part of Denmark that has a red and green flag instead of red and white. So I just picked that.
She asks a very good question. Don't be shy about asking each other why do you use one color or... Huh? Any question is good. Very, very good.
It's okay. You can translate.
Yeah, I know.
Just to give a big explanation in Spanish and then 2 sentences in English.
Can I borrow the see-through head that you have?
Which one?
The see-through head that you have? There's one there. So I'm a very social individual. This is me in the middle with the see-through head. I'm receiving and projecting all of the stuff coming from these other guys. These are people I don't know well, so they have many heads because they might have many faces and I don't know them that well. Some of them are carrying stuff that might be presents. I believe in giving, and I'm giving at the moment. This is my daughter. She's coming with a big present for her dad, and I'm giving her back a new mother, because I now have a new girlfriend who's looking after my daughter just as well as I am. So that's basically it. But the point would be, the see-through head is that I'm a very social individual and I want to be a projection of what the world around me is. That would be it.
Can I ask
So
you a
you-
question?
Yes?
Why did you just use persons, not pieces of?
Because I believe the world consists of persons and not pieces.
That's really nice.
So yeah. Welcome.
Obviously, we represent the wide spectrum of Danish behavior, the depressing Ibsen-esque world-weary dystopian view, and the more optimistic Scandinavian modern view.
Scandinavian.
I like that your daughter brings you a blue gift instead of a pink one, which is special.
No, so you wouldn't have liked the other way around with the pink.
I would have thought it's kind of.
Actually, it was. I can see now the sort of baby colors. I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, but it's. I remark it because you have blue and a pink like gift in the same picture, and you choose to not give the pink one to your daughter. So I think it's interesting.
These pieces, let's say you give like more importance to emotional transactions instead of material.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about you? What is that? Why is that tower so tall? Why? What it represents?
I explained, but it's a fair.
Okay.
So it has to give light.
It's moving. It's flexible.
In the darkness. It has motion, which is another idea, and flexibility.
Very nice.
You could put light everywhere.
That's it.
Very nice.
That's the idea. That's the idea. My idea. I'm quite an ideologist. I believe that we can change the world through our works.
Be the fair of yourself.
Thank you.
I feel myself always in a way, in a long way, always improving, discovering, meeting cultures, persons, overall cultures, and living way, different living ways in different countries, in different. Our son is always with us, always working from being 10 years old, and I feel myself very happy, very open, very proud. The main idea is the way, the long way, like a way to be with persons, with people, with cultures.
Exploring.
Living. Being always.
Is it different?
I think. I think. Living. I mean. Being the protagonist, the
The main actor.
Yeah. of my life. Yeah, different. This cover.
It's a bird. It's a bird.
Yeah,
It's a bird.
yeah. I'm very impressed when I was living for 8-9 months in Mali, in a desert, very desert part, and there I became hedonist, absolutely, and I had the opportunity to discover the main possibility of different senses. The sound, the taste, all different way to communicate, to communicate with all around.
So, first, this is because I'm French. So this
Maybe Louis is 15.
this because I like to travel, so it's just like a plane. Okay, you have to have some imagination, but I like yours. But this is a plane. I like about walking in nature and anything, but the idea was those two people, which are for me the idea of cooperation. And what is cooperation? So you have the sharing, so sharing benefits, sharing money of two people, one with a red flag, like a demonstration, people with ideology, political idea, and the other one with, I don't know which name for tools.
What is that? Worker.
Worker, pickets. So worker, so the idea of sharing benefits, but also sharing ideas and work to create a cooperation. That's the idea.
So you are cooperativist,
yeah.
I can say, but also you are monarchic.
No,
anti.
He's dead.
The idea behind that is that you don't believe in leadership, or
I think,
but just not the king.
No, I don't believe in God-willing leadership. So, but I think when you work together, you have to take decision, and a kind of leadership can exist. So the question is, cooperation is not having just one people taking all decision. So you have to, or even if in fact you have someone who have to sign or take the decision, you don't take the decision alone, so you have to cooperate and find a way to sharing ideas also.
There are different kinds of leadership.
of course,
Individual.
many. But I just wanted to know if because the idea of leadership is deeply ingrained in us. Yes, it's something which is biological. It's biology. It's not something rational.
You can learn. You can learn, and you can be a leader, learning and acting.
There is not a leader. I don't believe in a leader that is not learning every day. I mean, you have to be learning every day. Every day. It's not that I'm in this position and now I know about everything and I just send orders to my fellows. It's not that idea, but I believe in shared leadership, but it's not always practical, let's say. There are always like kind of deadlocks. Someone takes the responsibility in that situation, and it's the alpha idea. It's really biological. Now the neuroscience are demonstrating how our brain works, yes, and how as social animals we are, yes, how we accept this idea of the alphas, but only in some terms. It's like a social contract we have with the leaders, yes. If they take care of us, this idea, yes, if they take care of us, really take care of us, yes, if they don't use us as objects, then we step back.
I think it's cultural, the leadership, because you have people are educated to act as leaders.
Just a quick thing, we have 1.5 minutes to facilitate those two people, and you having a quest about leadership is
thank you. Will be
mind-boggling.
Quite quick. I just this is a kind of a personal fact, because I like to rowing, so the sea and so. And this is more like cooperation, because there are two peoples with this. They are not different because they have the same head, and they put together. It's kind of complementary to the idea to share, but now it's to put together. And it was important that it was in a circle basket, because you have no difference like on a circle table as place and so on. So the same heads and the circle represents the way that you were equal in sharing, and where we don't know who puts how many money in the baskets and so. But we are still equal to that. And he puts the dog. I don't like dogs.
Is it a casualty that one of the guys is looking on the opposite
direction? No,
direction?
they have both heads.
Two facing.
So I would like to have a normal one, but it's the two heads I find the same. But I have to find two as them. So
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah, the only girl here.
In fact, that person, it's me in both terms, because I like drama, I like theater, so it's a way to act, but it's also, as Sebastian, me as in a union, in a way to do, and an active way to participate in my own country. I do this for many years. Here, it's me as looking for a way to promote cooperation in my own cooperative, but also for my studies, because I'm looking for a method to facilitate exchange between peoples and make them create something, maybe an artistic creation, a cultural creation, but they decide together what they want to do and how they want to do that. And my willing is to give them a method to do that as cooperation, and that's it. It's my thought to create links between people, between thoughts, and how to do this even when it's so difficult that people don't want to cooperate, but in fact there is still something that we can do to create that link and to lose maybe something, but
how many of you have not
We just finished.
I was the last one. Sorry.
So the wheels are representing.
The disorder in my head.
Okay. Oh yeah.
It's like matching something.
Like engrenage.
Yeah.
It's like
Engrenage.
Yes.
Find
Which kind of
the
cooperative
right,
you go?
a student cooperative which develop multi-services for students.
In the university or?
Yes, in university and for students, not just at university. We are doing cafeteria, but also
How many members you are?
we have more than 300 members, cooperators.
But users or workers also?
Users. We have just 2 or 3 workers who are cooperators because it's we have workers, students, not students anymore who are still in the what?
Alumni.
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 Okay, alumni. Okay. Alumni members.
Where are you from?
And partners.
Where are you from?
France. We are
The same
in the
club.
same club.
We don't expect to be all on the same table.
Not a nationally diverse table.
No.
Vale. Esta parte aparte de bonita, es importante. Primero, porque si os llegamos a decir que os presentéis en la mesa, no hubiera salido ni un 2% de lo que seguramente habéis comentado. Tú no te sientas y dices, hola, soy Daniel, soy alguien que le gusta observar, no, pues soy Daniel, vengo de Bilbao, coach and play y punto. O sea, la idea de que nos conozcamos desde otra mirada es muy importante, ¿vale? De que tengamos otra forma de conectar con la gente.
Okay, the most important point here is imagine that you have to introduce yourself now, and you didn't have the game pieces. Okay, probably your mates, your game mates, wouldn't have known all the important things you have talked about, okay? Because usually it's like your name, where I am from, and what do I do. So this way, look all the things you have been able to find out about your mates and about yourself as well.
Y esto nos tiene que servir para algo muy importante. Y no solo para esta sesión, sino para también fuera de aquí, para la vida en general. Que no nos olvidemos que detrás de la persona, nos llevemos bien o mal, tengamos problemas o no, lo que nos mueve a la gente en el mundo es exactamente lo mismo. Nuestra gente, nuestro entorno, nuestros hobbies, nuestro tiempo. O sea, nadie se levanta con la idea de fastidiaros el día a nadie. No somos tan importantes, en serio. Luego es verdad que cuando llegamos a la empresa o llegamos a donde lleguemos, no somos capaces de quitarnos nuestra mochila de la vida y entrar a trabajar tan normal. Si mi hijo ha dormido mal hoy, yo tengo mala cara porque he dormido mal. Pero no olvidéis que detrás de alguien con la que no compartáis un punto de vista, con el que tengáis incluso un problema de comprensión o de lo que fuera, con un jefe que creéis que es un sinvergüenza, que alguno habrá, no os olvidéis que detrás de eso, lo que le mueve a esa persona es exactamente lo mismo. Y que solo concibiendo eso, es de donde se puede construir en conjunto, ¿vale?
Okay, another very important thing we have learned today is that here, but in the real life as well, we are moved by the same things, all of us. Okay? Here we are moved by the game, but out there we are moved by the same things, our hobbies, the people we love, things like that. So don't ever forget that behind a person, another person, there is probably somebody like you that looks for the same things.
Y por los siguientes pasos que hagamos, que será mirada de cooperativismo y tal, lo que decíamos antes, no va a ser tan importante que quede claro qué es lo que pienso yo, sino que nos demos el regalo de ver qué piensan los demás y de intentar entender eso, ¿no? Ostras, pues mira, hay algo que donde yo no pongo el foco y la gente sí lo pone, o al revés, ¿no? ¿Qué pasará que yo le doy importancia a esto cuando la gente no se la da?
And to realize that it's not so important what I think, but all the things the rest of our game mates think about.
ahora que sois ya expertos en Lego y sabéis que cualquier ficha vale para cualquier cosa y que sabéis contar las historias y todo, y que además hemos demostrado que al final los que estamos aquí nos mueve exactamente lo mismo, ¿no? Vamos a entrar ya en lo que el tema que nos centra hoy, que es un poco el recorrido que vamos a hacer, ¿vale? Por una parte vamos a hacer una foto fija de cómo vemos hoy el cooperativismo, cómo nos gustaría verlo dentro de, digamos, 2 o 3 años, lo veremos, ¿vale? Y desde ahí vamos a intentar identificar cuáles son los retos que tenemos para llegar a ese escenario que queramos construir. Y lo que decía al principio, no tanto qué hay que hacer para llegar, sino cómo debemos hacer las cosas para enfrentar esos retos.
Okay, now that you are all experts with this game, we are going to focus in what we are here, why we are here today. So, how do you see cooperativism, and how would you like to see it in a year? But not focusing in what you have to do, but how you do it.
Entonces, el primer paso va a ser, si hiciéramos una foto hoy, una foto fija, ¿qué saldría en la foto? ¿Cómo veis el cooperativismo? No cómo ha sido la historia, cómo hemos llegado hasta aquí, no. No hacia dónde vamos, no. Si hiciéramos una foto fija de hoy, ¿hoy qué día es? 5. Hoy, 5 de octubre del 2016, si hiciéramos una foto fija al cooperativismo, ¿qué es lo que veríais en la foto? ¿Qué veis? ¿Cómo sentiríais esa foto? ¿Vale?
Okay, imagine that you take a picture, a still photo, okay, a snapshot of cooperativism today. How would you see it?
Just today, okay?
Just today, in this moment. Okay.
No past and no future, just today. Hoy, si hiciéramos una foto, ¿qué saldría? ¿Cómo sentís o cómo veis el cooperativismo como concepto? ¿Vale? ¿Bye? Tenéis 2 minutos y medio para construir cómo veis el cooperativismo vosotros.
2 minutes and a half to build how you see the cooperativism.
Cada uno lo suyo por ahora, sí.
Very good.
Si hiciéramos una foto fija, ¿qué sale de esa foto?
Sí.
Empezar a construir, ¿eh? No penséis con la cabeza. Think with your fingers. Don't think with your head. No negociéis con la cabeza, ¿vale? ¿Qué sale en la foto? ¿Cómo veis? ¿Qué es lo importante? Si hiciéramos una foto fija, hoy, 5 de octubre del 2016, ¿qué saldría en esa foto? No pensamos, construimos con los dedos. Ponemos fichas. Ez pentsatu buruarekin. Ze agertzen da argazkian? Zeran ikusten dugu bakoitzak? Zeintzu dira gauza garrantzitsuak? No buscamos la ficha perfecta, cualquiera vale. Si hiciéramos una foto fija, ¿eh? No cómo hemos llegado hasta aquí, no el histórico, que ya lo sabemos, no qué deberíamos hacer a partir de ahora, no, foto fija. Y la imprimiéramos, cada uno de vosotros, ¿cómo nos la contaríais? ¿Qué saldría en esa foto? How do you see the cooperative movement today? Just today. No in the past, no in the future. Just in a still photo, what appeared there? ¿Qué es lo importante? ¿Qué destacaríais? ¿Dónde ponéis el foco?
Think about what is most important to you, okay? Where would you focus?
1 minuto.
1 minute.
Cualquier ficha vale para cualquier cosa.
Each piece is good for anything, okay?
Y nunca deis por terminada la plancha.
Okay.
You can put more bricks.
Don't think you're finished, okay? You keep going.
Siempre hay algún matiz que se pueda poner. Confiar en vuestros dedos por un rato.
Trust on your fingers.
¿Qué aparece hoy en la foto fija cuando hablamos de cooperativismo? Zer da agertzen dana, gaur urriak 5, argazki bat egingo bagendu, zer agertuko zen argazkian, zer ikusten dugu, zerri ematen dugu garrantzia. Vamos terminando. Vamos terminando.
We are almost done.
Últimos matices. Azkenengo ezaugarriak. Según vayáis terminando, todas las fichas que sobran las empujáis para el centro, ¿vale?
Okay. When you finished, all the pieces that are left, just put them in the center of the table.
Just all the bricks in the center, ¿ok? Luego usa bricks, palabra bricks, en vez de pieza. Bloque. ¿Bricks es bloque?
Brick, sí.
Pues son bricks.
Ladrillo.
Por eso, bricks.
Bricks, vale.
Vale, vamos terminando. Vamos echando todo lo que sobre para el centro, ¿vale? Todo lo que no sea vuestra construcción. Una vez que terminéis, todo lo que no sea vuestro, lo empujamos para el centro. Es más grande si quieres, Suficiente. Bukatzen dugunean, sobran dauzen fitxa guztiak erdira bota, ¿vale? Banandu pizkat erdira. Vale, pues igual que antes, vamos a explicar a los demás qué es lo que sale en nuestra foto. Es importante lo que decíamos al principio. No estemos tan pendientes de lo que pensamos nosotros, de nuestro libro, sino de lo que piensan los demás. O sea, es una oportunidad para ver que no lo que yo pienso es la gran verdad y que todo el mundo está en mi contra y está confundido. Seguramente tendréis muchos puntos en común, estaría bueno, pero seguramente hay matices que son los que realmente dan oportunidad de aprendizaje hoy, ¿vale? Entender cómo ve la gente el cooperativismo y cómo lo vive.
Okay, we are going to do the same thing as we've done before. Focus not just in what you've done, but in what the rest of people have done. Okay? And this is an opportunity to learn different points of view, different ways to see the idea.
Pues empezamos en las mesas, bakoitza bere mailan, besteei azaltzen, ¿vale? Empezamos a explicar a los demás. Venga.
Okay, we start to explain people on your table.
Okay. Okay, I can start. I can see that at this moment the cooperatives are growing up and with some problems. Can you see several holes on, but it's growing. And comparing with the other companies, that are the other companies, and in this case I see that we will be the winner. As you know, for 2020, this decade, it will be the system who is going to grow more than the other system, and yeah, different colors, different opinion, of course, but always working more or less together and being and growing and being the winner, comparing with the conventional companies.
I return to my shark-infested waters metaphor with a slight modification. The problem for cooperatives, and I'm speaking from a Danish perspective entirely, is that they're not very well respected. It's not seen as a way you can actually structure a company in. So we've been threatened by the tax the IRS in Denmark. They wanted to close us because they can't see that you can have a company that is co-owned by people who have equal shares. It simply doesn't work for them. So we see it as a way to act against, and again, the shark. It has money in it, can represent the outside society, which in Denmark has a very strong focus on entrepreneurship, just not social entrepreneurship. The entire conversation about being an entrepreneur is about egotism, and it's very much under attack, the cooperative ideal. I spoke to another consultant last weekend, and he mocked me for saying that we might want to use resources to help with projects in Africa and the third world. That was apparently so ridiculous and so blatantly stupid that it deserved ridicule. I don't think it does, but at least in Denmark right now, corporations are not the preferred way of structuring a company. There's a very capitalist mindset. And we have no legal way of constructing a cooperative in Denmark, technically. No laws about it. And for the optimist view from the north, and I think it's a challenge that we need to address this fact that corporations are seen as sort of a crazy left-wing hippie project. You can have a business that works cooperatively without suffering, without limiting your ideological background.
So the different take on this would be that in our firm we're working with a new project management tool called Scrum, and this is a little bit inspired by the working methods of that. So the general idea here is that this would be a cooperative collaboration of some sort, and obviously this could be turned around, because this could be an assignment, it could be a job, it could be an idea. And so the pig or the turtle, depending on the speed of the process coming into this, is that it's carrying ideas or jobs into the circle of people, handing around these with the joint forces of these. This could be an engineer, this could be a programmer, this could be a web developer, and this could be something else. Something thirdly, they are working cross-functional teams in order to solve the problems and develop the ideas in the best possible way, and they would be obviously handing these ideas or assignments or thingies around in a circle, and at some point this guy goes like this and delivers it to the turtle, who now carries it out in the world, in this case very slowly. So this is for me a way to say that if we want the cooperative movement to work, we have to accept the fact that we have to work across boundaries of both professional skills and across organizations and all these kinds of things, that we have to accept that working in smaller groups will make a difference. That's the general idea of this.
I have like two different points of views. This is social in terms of people, and this is like the economic model, the laws, the government. I will start like this because it's the most simple one. We are lucky that we live in this corner of the world, and we have last week I heard this figure. This is the corner of the world that has the biggest numbers in terms of social economy, not the number of companies that are like participated or something like that. This is USA, but in terms of people working in social economy, this is we have the biggest numbers, yes, and it's not by chance, yes. This is a work since a very long time ago, yes, that these people have pushed the authorities, the governments at that time, yes, to change little by little the laws and the rules and so on. So I think there is more than flexibility. I wanted to have this kind of hand grenades, yes. It works, I think, yes. The cooperative system actually is integrated, yes, with the government. It has its links already to change laws, to change ways of working. This works okay. What happens in the society? What I see in the cooperatives, in the big cooperatives, ours is like 4,000 people, yes, so it's quite a big amount of people. What I see is that there is no alignment, yes, there is no alignment between the people, yes. It's just individual interests, yes, not coordinated. There hasn't been for years. There's a lack of speech, of philosophy, of where are we going, yes. this kind of thing. So each of these individual person tries to pull in one direction because they are not aligned. Some of them, yes. I don't know if it's by chance, if it's just by, I don't know. Some of them, yes, but in general, there is a lack of alignment. And the cooperative system doesn't allow them, this is kind of a spring, yes, doesn't allow them to develop individually as they could, yes. Of course, there is this matter that, of course, there are some limits, yes. And these people feel frustrated in some way by the system. So this is a little bit the photo I see. Then we could talk about the solutions, but this is a little bit what I see. This works okay, and here we have really big work to do.
I'd like to express in my feeling, a deep feeling way, that the social and economic reality of cooperativism here in this little corner of the world that moves between the past and the future. We are very proud of our history, our very important reality, economical and social reality, which we have reach, yeah, and the future. But in my opinion, we haven't less and less a common project. Is like individuals who put together minimal and common interest, but individual interest, not a common project. And I think that we need absolutely put together and try to build a common project, because nowadays the protagonists are becoming like a military a la defensiva, and must absolutely leave this kind of organization and see the future with value, with seeing way the society in a different order, because living and behaviors, living way and behaviors real in society are changed a lot from 15, 16 years, where we had built our real project. And our main challenge, I think, is to open and explore new realities and dialogue with different parts of stakeholders in our society.
Who is this? You were trying to find where is the key? Yes, who is this?
Glorious past is the protagonist of the past, who feel himself very sure and proud.
Very well. So it's a picture of the cooperative movement now. So basically we have the values. So I don't find 7 principles, but just 3. But okay, it's the idea. So you have this, and you have the not older but the bigger co-op with money on top, gold, but nothing happened. So yes, it's quite higher than the value, but it's a something dead inside. And you have to answer to new challenges, or just because we have new people involved in the cooperatives, you have people building something. So you have the value you want to be higher as, and you have the old and bigger co-op, and you have the new co-op, a new movement, new ideas, and basically both are not at the level of what you want to be, but if you succeed to connect, you will be in link to be high as your value, and also something living.
That's a pretty solid metaphor. Pretty solid metaphor. Yeah, good.
It's also a bit of a dark picture, but I'm assure you I'm quite confident for the
Dark picture is
I also use a shark because there are 2 sharks in the table because we have 2 sets. No, I get the mouse.
It's good. It's good.
You got the little one?
I think that must be the body, someone. But actually it represents this is the cooperativism. Don't take care about the faces, they must be happy. But it shows that they're a bit wealthy together, because actually today cooperativism is resilient. In the crisis it goes better than the rest of the companies and so on. But I fear that wellness could make forget that we are all in the same limited world, because just avoiding threats like capitalism and so on has 2 critical consequences. Is one, to forget people who would be leftovers, like this one with drawing, but also as you are close on your prosperity, not to let enter new people who has also opportunities represented as money. So it's kind of a picture of sometimes the cooperative world was like just happy because it's going good, it's going well in a world where everything is falling apart, but with the risk of forgetting that actually we are all, the world is not just that, it's this, and we're all together. And sure, when you put boundaries, you're also protected from the sharks, but you also cut from new opportunities and cut from your first goal, who was first of all to get people better.
I think my proposal is not optimistic or pessimistic, but I see many different evolution, some huge structure which has money, many young cooperators or smaller who are try to create link, and somehow we can find them, we realize to create that bridge, and others smaller they can't do that in the way that cooperative movement function right now. And here, that window, because the cooperative movement is just something others are looking and not seeing as a part of the society right now. But just
it's isolated. It's isolated.
yes, not isolate, but it's something. Yes, in fact, not limits, but people see it.
Yeah, it's something you heard about.
Yes,
but it's not your reality. Yeah, it's distant. It's
they're not see it
you
as
see that
something
on
you
TV,
can
but
do
it's not the reality.
every day.
Yeah.
But in fact, it's a part of the society. People maybe don't know that it's cooperative or a part of the cooperative movement, and so we are looking at through a window, and that's the picture I want to propose.
I like very much the word which the two you have used, new, young, and sounds to me very interesting and challenging for us. Yeah. New, young. Okay.
See, I'm just going to grab this.
Sorry, and perhaps I appreciate also to open this program
it's the purpose.
absolutely to the all around the society.
I will be more positively in the first picture.
And I don't want to interrupt you. Just to remind you that you can ask any questions, okay? Like before.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, right, okay. So I just grabbed this because this is maybe the wider world, the environment. But the grey piece, I'm actually saying is the values and principles, the cooperative values and principles, which are the 7 and the 6, which are absolutely integral, and it's what gives cooperatives the strength and that dynamics to enable them to survive and to function as collectivist organizations, and that's really important, as collectivist organizations. And so it's kind of a dimensional graph, 3-dimensional graph, where as you move away from this, maybe this should be like this actually. As you move away from this, or you move outwards too, you can enter into kind of dangers, because that collectivism that gives cooperatives their strength and gave the cooperatives that originally set up in the Basque Country their strength. For example, just as an example. The more you build, and the more you build in a certain type of way, in the way of traditional organizations, you build upwards and you build more and more representative layers, and the further you move away from participation, the more you enter into a kind of danger zone. But also, the more radical you are, the more you kind of push the boundaries of cooperativism. Maybe this is like the super radical worker co-ops, that have estranged themselves from the values because they're forgetting that the key thing is to continue to participate. Because as soon as you start to take yourself away and isolate yourself, you're not actually following the values that you're claiming are at your heart. And here you have the constant messages coming out from the strongly established cooperative institutions. So this is the inter-cooperative associations, secondary and tertiary organizations, the ICA. And so this is the message that they're constantly projecting outward into the wider cooperative movement. But here, the reason why this is upside down is that the large established organizations, while they say they want to hear, while they're saying they want to listen to what's going on out there, they're not actually properly. There's something wrong. It's upside down. That's why it's upside down. They're not listening to these organizations that are still very flat, still very close to the ground, still very close to the values and principles of cooperation, still able to work in those dynamic ways. And what's really important, is to turn this around, and here's the kind of breakdown. And so around here you have the circle with the sort of ecosystemic functioning cooperatives, of varying sizes. Some of them really small, 2, 3, 4, 6 people. Some of them slightly larger. Some of them a bit more radical, really pulling away from the big organizations because they feel that this height is kind of scaring them away. But they're still participating in this round robin circle. And what's important is for this to be closed and for this feedback loop between, so that these guys can learn once again how to be a little bit more flat, and cut down on those representative layers so they can get back closer, really close to the ground, close to those values and principles that cooperativism is based on and is strengthened by and benefits from and makes it successful. That make sense?
It does. A lot to say.
Some of us we have a very positive perspective, and some another we have black clouds.
It's a photography. Perspective can be positive still.
Yeah, and the point is, if you only look at, oh, we're going to save the world, then fuck all will be done. You need to look at challenges instead of saying, this brilliant vision we have, in 20 years we'll be there, and in 20 years you'll go, in 20 years we'll be there, and so on and so forth. You need to say, well, what's the issue right now? It's that classic capitalism and classic way of structuring companies is what is done all across Europe. And cooperativism is a tiny bit. In the best country, it's the alpha and the omega, but in the rest of Europe, it's practically nothing. And we need to realize that, because we cannot use Mondragon as the basis for all our arguments about cooperativism in the rest of Europe, because of vastly different power structures and societies.
But true. I think that in general, in all the countries, the cooperatives has a good image.
It has a good image, but they're not very often viewed as powerful companies.
They're not taken seriously.
Not taken seriously.
Also, too powerful companies.
Yeah,
because when you have some, huge bank, huge agriculture company, but people say, okay, this is a cooperative, but I don't see any difference.
We have a huge bank in Denmark that is technically a cooperative, but nobody knows.
Yeah.
Because advertising that fact would reduce the trust the customers have in them.
Not only advertising,
yeah,
all communication.
They're changing, because in France also, big cooperative banks first they erase the cooperative from their image, and now they are all saying we're cooperative, we're cooperative, we're cooperative. The problem is that chart, if you think it's like the banking system, the pillar of the capitalism, in France it's 60% of the banking sector is cooperative.
Yeah.
So maybe that chart is there. Sure. That's a problem.
But sharks could also be politicians to promote classic capitalism, or entrepreneur groups and initiatives that only focus on classic capitalist structures and companies.
It's the reason why they need to be challenged.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, it's not about having a class warfare argument or going into brutal Marxism. I'm not a brutal Marxist in any way. It's just, in Denmark at least, it seems a bit, in the public view, it's a bit ridiculous. It's a bit too hippie to the 60s generation.
It's not credible.
It's definitely not credible.
But what do you, because you said before, that maybe we are sometimes too positive and about that maybe we don't have to be that way. Maybe you should more focus in the table, you know what I'm saying? And think what the positive thinking has done.
Oh yeah, well, we have a cooperative. We want to promote the principles. It's just we need to accept that to reach that point, we need a legitimacy that right now, at least in Denmark, the movement simply doesn't have. And we need to work very hard on reaching that point.
You have a good point.
No soltemos lo que hemos construido, ¿vale? Es importante.
Don't break up whatever you have built, okay? Skip it.
Vale, lo que hemos hecho hasta ahora, o lo que hemos hecho ahora, ha sido intentar hacer una foto fija del momento, ¿vale? Es importante cómo hemos llegado aquí, pero muchas veces damos mucha importancia al peso anterior y lo importante es identificar en qué momento estamos.
It's very important how we got here, but we have to analyze what we have done here now, in this moment, okay? That's very important.
¿Por qué? Porque ese es este punto de partida del que podemos construir conjuntamente. Lo que habéis visto en la mesa seguramente es que no ha habido dos personas que tenéis la misma visión o entendéis igual el cooperativismo. Por supuesto hay muchos matices y una mirada bastante alineada y hacéis una lectura bastante real del momento. Pero no hay dos visiones iguales en toda esa sala de lo que veis en el cooperativismo. Y eso, lo decíamos antes, no es un riesgo, no es una amenaza. O sea, el hecho de que no compartáis la visión inicial no es una amenaza, es una oportunidad. Porque es como la vivís y como la sentís cada uno de vosotros, ¿vale?
Okay, it's very important to know that even in your point of view about cooperativism, there are not two points of view that are the same, okay? And as we said before, this is not a risk, it's not a threat, it's an opportunity, a very good opportunity to see that even having different points of view, we can work together.
Pero aunque no compartamos esa visión inicial 100%, sí podemos construir algo conjuntamente de dónde queremos o cómo nos gustaría que fuera el cooperativismo.
And even though we don't share the same vision, we can build something all together. That's very important.
¿Qué vamos a hacer? Vamos a pensar dentro de un año cómo nos gustaría que estuviera esa foto fija. Importante, no cómo creéis que va a estar. Importante, no dónde consideráis o alguien considera que debiera estar. La idea está en que si pudierais construir lo que vosotros quisierais, ¿cómo os gustaría que fuera esa foto fija del cooperativismo dentro de un año?
Okay, if you could take a still photo now from here in a year, how would you like to see it? No, how do you think it's going to be, but how would you like to see the cooperativism in a year?
Vale, no es la idea, repito, no es la idea de pensar, vale, en un año, imposible llegar ahí, no. Nadie sabe qué va a pasar mañana, con lo cual, si pudiéramos pintar y dibujar o hacer una foto de cómo nos gustaría que fuera este movimiento, el cooperativismo, ¿qué saldría en la foto?
Okay, so remind this very good. Now, how do we think it's going to be the cooperativism in 1 year time? But how would we like to see it?
Vale, para eso podéis reconstruir lo que habéis construido, quitar, poner, soltar, lo que os dé la gana, ¿vale? La idea es foto fija de aquí a un año, cómo me gustaría que fuera cooperativismo.
Okay, you can use the same bricks, or you can use different ones, or mix them, or whatever you want.
2 minutos.
2 minutes.
Gaurko argazkia egin dugu, eta orain egin behar dugu, hemendik eta urte batera, zelan gustatuko litzaiguke izatea kooperatibismoa. Ez non egongo dan, ez nora uste dugu heldu aldela, baizik eta gure aukera de gure esku dago irudikatzea zelan gustatuko litzaidake niri izatea kooperatibismoa, ¿vale? Cómo me gustaría que fuera, no tanto cómo creo que va a ser, cómo dicen que debiera ser, no. Si tuviera una varita mágica que construyera, ¿qué saldría en mi foto? Otra vez, foto fija del 5 de octubre del 2017. Foto fija de qué saldría o me gustaría que saliera en mi foto.
How would you see it in
5 de octubre.
How would you see it the October 5th, 2017, okay? From here in a year.
No dónde creemos que va a estar, no dónde dice la gente que debiera estar, no dicen los estudiosos que el cooperativismo va a llegar a... Si tuvierais una varita mágica, si pudierais decidir cómo os gustaría que fuera esa foto, si hiciéramos una foto fija, 5 de octubre del 2017, ¿vale? Berriro ere, argazki finko bat, hemendik eta urte batera, ez zer uste dugu agertuko dala, baizik eta gure eskutan balego, zer nahi izango nuke agertu dadila argazkian. No tanto qué creo que puede aparecer, sino cómo me gustaría a mí que fuera esa foto. Últimos segundos. We're going to finish. When you finish, you can put all the bricks in the center. según vais terminando, todo lo que sobre lo empujamos para el centro, para dejar vuestras planchas libres. Sobran dausen fitxa guztiak aurrera bota erdira. Vale, vamos terminando, apartamos todas las fichas.
Okay, time out.
Igual que antes, vamos a ir explicando. Como en este caso se trata de una foto de futuro, vamos a hacerlo más ágil, ¿vale? O sea, contando lo importante, poniendo el foco, sin entrar en debates si compartimos o no esa visión, o sea, sino que intentando identificar un poco los focos o importancia que damos a la plancha.
Okay, we are going to be more dynamic now. We're just going to say what we see, no? Instead of more getting into a debate of what we think of the other and what we see, okay?
Venga, empezamos en cada mesa.
All right.
What we see of somebody else's plate, or what we see in
just yours. So don't discuss what you think of others, just a bit quicker.
Just explain
So I begin. We have like for me in 1 year there should be a ladder between like the co-op movement that was around for 70 years and the new starting co-ops, and we have a vision on what the snake looks like and how we can tackle it. So, but not actually doing it, but just having a vision, because in 1 year it's quite a short period of time. And I think we also have a vision of all these kind of initiatives that are starting to develop. So we have to get a more clear view of what is already around, and also bring this all together to one like big knowledge thing that we can share. And I think that's, if we can reach that for over 1 year, we have done a lot. Yeah. That's it.
Well, I would like to see ourselves in 1 year having in the middle as a center point our values. What values we want to have as cooperative. This is, and always thinking about people working in those cooperatives and what do we want. So I would like to all of us be working in different groups in order to see what we want to achieve, and also to look at what is created in the rest of the world. Also to get the point of view of that in order to introduce it here. But I see people here working in order to see what we want to be in the future. Defining our new values, thinking in a human being, looking at the rest of the world too, and all of us thinking about it in order to achieve a new model.
I'd like to see like a solid structure filled with many different people, but also well, the last brick is like transparent, and you can see from above, and transparency is one of the features in a cooperative, and the Basque law regards it as something necessary in a cooperative. You have to give information, you have to be clear, everything has to be transparent, and so on. And something like that. So you get the light, but also you can see through the structure. And the main richness of the structure are the people who work for it. So that's it. Pretty simple.
Cool. Mine's pretty simple, but something that we've been talking a lot about profit in the market around the table, and some of the work I've been doing around is the commons. So the commons is stuff which exists outside of the market, so simply stuff like land, sea, air, but also kind of medical knowledge, the kind of creative commons that we build. So for me that's the kind of underlying foundation, is the commons. And then it's about the interaction between the social economy, cooperatives, and what Michel Barons, who's a Belgian peer-to-peer theorist, calls the partner state. So public state, he calls it the partner state. So the idea here is that the partner state, so I don't think we're going to get rid of the state anytime soon, but we need to rethink and redesign it so that it enables and supports the social economy and protects the commons. So the commons is the biggest thing. thing, and it's what underwrites our whole existence. With the social economy as the cooperative, which I think there's a really important role for cooperatives in a social market, where we need to think about what things should exist outside of markets, and then when they are in markets, how we justly kind of like distribute them. So for me it's how does the cooperative movement figure out its relationships with the state and with the commons by next year. By next year.
Mine is very similar to yours, because you have this control, this stream of control. This is exactly what I started to do. We have a mess now. Those guys control everything. In fact, they influence and control us. What we can say, we can stabilize. Some of these are stable because we start to create the control. You know, there's a cooperative corporate watch. This is a very good example. Do you know them? Corporate watch. I think they're in the UK. But what they do, they write reports about the activities of the big corporations, and they control them. And I went to about 2 years, no, last year there was a critical management studies conference, and there was one meeting, one discussion where different small little cooperatives like Corporate Watch and other journals, etc. Those that hardly survive on the market because they are not subsidized by anyone, etc., etc. There were so many people interested in their activity. There was no room. People were sitting on the floor. It's very rare at the research conferences that you sit on the floor, but it shows how important it is. And I think this will grow, hopefully. Yeah, it will be more stable. At a certain point, I envision that they will be very much controlled. Until now, they influence and control us.
Cooperative watch, what do they do exactly?
Corporate watch.
Corporate watch.
They surveillance, kind of reporting on big corporations and how they trade.
You enter their website and you see what Coca-Cola.
Vigilantes de empresas. Pero is that a public institution?
It's a cooperative. It's a cooperative.
Like very grassroots.
Probably like us here. But
poorly funded and grassroots.
Yes, and they write reports about Coca-Cola or whatever, what they do, where
like activist deaths or trade union deaths or so on, and those kind of things.
That's interesting.
So yeah, my one is essentially the hope that the old model is knocked down and surpassed and then joined by new emerging ideas that grow and revitalize the whole movement and spread its message out to more people, to build awareness, to have a more substantial footprint on the economy and to have a more substantial footprint in public life as well, because it is an emerging, inspirational type of future.
Okay. I just improved my first version, so maybe it's not 1 year, but in the next 5 to 10 years I see it. Sustainable energy. Basically, what I want to try to develop a horizontal line of thinking, not vertical, and encourage the members together and open their own cooperatives. Much more cooperatives, it's horizontal line of thinking, and sustainable houses, green energy, basically to build core principles.
So my vision in 1 year is more cooperatives, even more diversity. So the cooperatives are also more unified, you know, they have this common vision, they know the principles, they want to implement them. They pull external actors into the cooperative movement. They try to put their community at large into the same idea. They also use, like, they try to pull the resources of the environment, like Starbucks communicating over fair trade and cooperatives. Okay, fair enough. Like, but you are not a co-op, and in 10 years when you will have to fire people, well, we will be the cooperative movement, and you communicate over our values. We use them to strengthen ourselves. More cooperation among cooperatives, like cooperatives also building common projects, so that it increases the movement and brings the principles even higher. And I think since you are bigger, you can even explore new things, new areas which remains inexploited. And so on. So this is my vision.
Well, I also try to improve my practice model to face the shark and try to beat them. Well, the cooperatives that were outside of the model, I try to put them into the model. I try to put all the cooperatives at the same level, at least from the values vision. Maybe not in growth or in benefits, but we should have the same level of values and the same vision, and try to work together to improve the model and to face the capitalist model and try to put them down, and all this must be done through education of people, I think, of workers and of people around also that see the benefits of the values of the cooperativism, and then we can come out as champions and with clean values also. Like yours. And this is the Young European Cooperative Network, right? Big part.
But 1 year is very optimistic.
Yeah, it's not for 1 year.
Next decade. I think that for me, if in 1 year we are able to talk about all those things, it will be great. Start thinking and working about that, it will be great.
I like that because it's, instead of being like, this is what you think is going to happen, it's like, actually let's just convene lots of people to think about what's going to happen in a year, rather than just trying to be like, this is going to happen. Let's just get people working together first, and then figure out what happens.
Let's do it all together.
Yeah. So is this going back to small scale initiatives?
From the grassroots, that's what you said. I don't think the government has any chances to help because the government is lobbied by that. Politics is lobbied by that. So we don't do it. There's only one thing I must something I have to share. I was reading about a book. The title of the book is "To Buy or Not to Buy Organic." When I was reading it, there was a guy who was selling apples, and he had a farm, and he said, you know, people make us to use pesticides and all the things that because when I sell my products in the market, if there is a spot, if there's anything not perfect, people won't buy it. So after reading this, the pesticides, all the chemicals are expensive, they are poisonous, so they threaten our lives, our farmers' lives, first of all. And if I don't use them, they will not buy it. So at a certain point I realized, okay, I am the one who is, supporting Monsanto. I am, when I go to the shop and I'm choosing the apples, this is the moment when I'm supporting and I'm destroying the ordinary farms.
There is ways to deal with it. Some supermarkets in the UK have started selling blemished vegetables and fruit for cheaper. I think the problem is when you're paying lots of money at a supermarket, you want the best product, but if you could get it for half the price and it has a blemish on it, then
one of them.
Definitely, or you could make it into cider instead.
And of course, Carlos, okay, in one of the, when I was in Canada, they had, it's completely different with the discussion about joining, Canada joining and trading free with Europe is dangerous, but there is, you have a shell with meat, and you have one small piece of the shell telling the antibiotics-free meat.
Vale, la pregunta de que vierais cómo os gustaría que fuera un año, lo que queremos es que intentéis pensar más allá. Venga, vamos a avanzar. Jaré, tú, ¿vale? El hecho de... El hecho de que os planteáramos a un año cómo os gustaría que fuera, más allá de enfrentaros a decir, esto es imposible en un año, es justo ese ejercicio, ¿eh? Es también tomar conciencia de que nadie sabe qué va a pasar mañana, y lo que hoy nos resulta difícil puede que no lo sea, o lo que hoy nos resulta imposible puede que no. Entonces, tenemos que también aprender a construir objetivos que, por supuesto, sean alcanzables, pero que sean más allá de lo que supuestamente está llamado a ser el cooperativismo dentro de un año, ¿no? Que seamos ambiciosos, porque gran parte de lo que consigamos como cooperativismo dependerá de nosotros, no de otros.
Okay, we have done this experiment, this game. Dime de principio, perdona.
No sé qué he dicho ya. No, que planteamos un año de vista no solo para enfrentaros a que no penséis que un año se va a conseguir o no, sino para haceros más ambiciosos y para que sea el reto más real, ¿no? Que depende de ellos.
Okay, it's not that we want to do everything in a year or things to happen in 1 year, but it's just to see what are your goals and all the different things you think about it, no? To get those goals.
¿Qué vamos a hacer ahora? Eso sería un poco la visión que tenéis cada uno de lo vuestro. Vamos a intentar identificar cuál creéis que es el reto más importante al que tenéis que enfrentaros o al que tiene que enfrentarse el cooperativismo para conseguir eso que habéis construido, ¿vale? Si tuviéramos que identificar, si hay un montón de retos, pero si tuvierais que elegir un reto que de aquí a un año, me da igual en 3 o 5 años, pero que un reto al que hay que hacerle frente y que hay que cumplir para conseguir esa foto, ¿cuál sería ese reto?
Okay, now you have to think to get what you have done. What would be the challenge, okay, that you have to do to get that goal? What would you have to do? What would be the challenge?
No qué hay que hacer con el reto, ni cómo vamos a hacerle frente, todavía no, sino si hubiera un reto y diríais, el reto es cambiar la base cultural de no sé qué, o el reto es no sé cuántos. ¿Cuál sería el reto que da pie a esa plancha, ¿vale?
No how you would do it, but what it would be the challenge to get that done. Okay?
Dentro de esa misma plancha situáis el reto, ¿vale? Construís un pequeño reto. 1 minuto para esto nada más.
1 minute.
Cada uno en su plancha un reto.
Each one of you you work in the same plate you have worked before, okay?
Opi, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué traes?
Con Lego.
No, ¿quién va a estar con Lego? Un 30 segundos.
Seconds.
Which is the challenge for getting it done? Zein da erronka? Zuek egin duzuen argazki hori lortu ahal izateko, zein izango litzateke erronka, edo zeri egin beharko genioke aurre, erronka moduan, ¿vale? ¿Cuál es el reto que tendríamos que superar para hacer frente a la foto que habéis hecho?
what is the challenge we have to face to get the still photo we had before.
Vamos a poner en medio.
Este sonido. Ahí.
Vale, ya está. Vamos a...
Time out.
Vamos a contar a los demás, por una parte, cuál creéis que es el reto que tenéis que superar y contextualizarlo bien, ¿vale? Explicarlo bien. Quiero decir, cuando digáis, por ejemplo, que imaginaos que dijéramos el reto es mejorar la comunicación entre cooperativas. Si fuera eso, explicar bien qué entendéis por mejorar comunicación. No nos quedemos solo con el titular, ¿vale?
Okay. You have to explain very good your challenge, okay? So let's not just focus in is this and that, no. Very, very specific of what the challenge is, okay?
Hori, bakoitzak bere mailan erronkari aurre zein den erronka azaldu behar dago, ¿vale? Baina ondo azalduz ze ulertzen dagoen erronka horrekin, ¿vale? Venga, compartimos los retos.
Okay, we share our challenges.
We share the challenge, okay? Erronkak banandu.
Okay, for me the main problem was the value tower, let's say. So for me the challenge is to create the whole culture around those values. So at the end it's a big thing. It's a new cultural value, new culture and values for the different cooperatives. So it's to create a new frame that is surrounding those new values for us, and all of us we need to get educated into those new values. A culture, education and culture and values.
I wanted to show something similar because before I said like we needed a solid structure and there's teamwork. Well, I needed more people around, but it's all teamwork with people working together just to create that solid structure and slowly as well, but constantly, like the guy before, he talked about the turtle and the slowly, but also teamwork, I mean, everyone together. So I needed more people here, but I didn't have. And also, I didn't find anything proper, but information and be clear about everything regarding the cooperative and the decisions and the investments and everything else, like she said. But there's a lack of, there's not a lack of information, but people interested in getting that information because, well, it's very delicate. But the people who were in the demonstration outside, there's, well, some people in the protest, but not everyone, and the result was the same for everyone. So sometimes you don't get the information you should. So who is to blame? I mean, people have to be concerned, like what the cooperative is, where they're working, what the values are, the principles, everything. And sometimes they are just workers, and they don't feel that they belong to a cooperative as what it is. So information as well, but also, especially teamwork.
Cool, so this is quite broad, I guess, but this is the land, reclaim the land. This represents enclosure, and so the blocks of the commons, co-ops and the state working together, I think, is just the kind of historical events which have taken place hundreds of years ago. And so in the UK story, 6 million acres were enclosed in the 18th century. and we've been away from the land for so long in the UK. There's no recent past to kind of like access, no kind of like traditions and past to even be interested in living on the land again in many different ways. And this represents the fact that we're living with dead ideas, that we still have the legacy of dead ideas impacting on our lives, even though they dramatically fail during financial crises decade to decade. And so I think that's the challenge, and the kind of solution to that is this idea that every time we have a crisis, politicians and economists kind of look around for the ideas which are lying around. So we need to make the cooperative option the viable working option, so that when we have crises, housing crises, financial crises, that instead of the dead ideas being recycled and forced through austerity and so on, that cooperative ideas are to hand, easy to access, and available for politicians and economists to take seriously, and for the public as well. So yeah.
I would repeat. This is what I said exactly. Here, there are plenty of ideas that we mention all the time. You have it there, all around the world, and people don't know about it. You don't know about what corporate work. Some people don't know there is a fair phone in the world. Some others don't know about something else. I don't know what can be done so that all these ideas, because those guys have their television networks and they tell us about their products, about everything. We don't have. We have just social media, which are already controlled almost. So this is a challenge. I don't know how to do it, so that people know
it. I can only really speak for people my age, but I guess the real challenge is that rent or housing is super expensive and work is precarious, and it forces people to kind of live month to month hoping to get something, which puts up a barrier to even thinking about any of these ideas. And so there's no real vision. It's just kind of survival, because all of your effort is spent working a job that you don't particularly want to do or like or feel fulfilled in most of the time, in order to just maintain your property. So all of this is kind of utopic and not realistic. So that's the challenges: to provide affordable housing to young people, and then also to make this seem like a realistic and feasible option for people to make a living, to be able to pay for their housing.
Yes, for me the biggest challenge is to build a trust, because when I talk with my friends who don't understand this model, they just told me, come on, that's not good. So what we need to be more transparent, be better in marketing. Who says about Starbucks? They're doing a great job, but they're doing our job. And that's the problem. And when we explain that to our friends, maybe we can move this wall and put them inside. And the other thing is that, as we see, every COP have problems, and I see the problem that is in democratic structure. Democratic is a really amazing thing, but it can be a pretty big mess if it's not a solid structure. And that's the biggest challenge for me.
It's pretty much the same for me. For me, it's trust in the cooperative movement. Although sometimes we see that huge things are happening and they look bigger than us, but we need to be aware that there is less diversity. For instance, social entrepreneurship for a while, it was the new trend, and everybody was talking about social entrepreneurship, and we cooperatives, wow, what's happening? Are we missing something? And now it's collaborative economy, so it's Uber, it's Airbnb, and we are, wow, maybe this model is better and more efficient than us. But they are basically bubbles, they come and they form, and they are not sustainable models. They are less diverse. So we should not ignore them because they are part of the environment. They are reflective of trends and expectations from the people. But we should also be aware of our own strengths, which is long term, which is sustainability, and think through the cooperative movement. So I think the main challenge is not to be disturbed too much by what is happening just as bubbling trends.
Sorry that I interrupt you. Look, in this simple play, you have to place here, out of your challenge, the most representative piece of the game or book that represents your challenge. Okay? It's one.
3 minutos, 3 minutes, 1 minuto. Te explicamos el reto y lo escribimos en el tarjetón, ¿vale?
And you will have to write it here. Okay? My challenge was here. The piece that I chose was.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Two more, yeah. Well, I agree with a lot of things you said before. I think first off we have to be strengthen our strengths, like really empower our values and spread it around our network, around the cooperatives that are not into the values as much as before. And then I also think that one, education and visibility, like he said in marketing, for example, that other people that are just pretending are doing great marketing and maybe cooperative movement are not doing any marketing, so people don't know about us, or people don't know the possibilities of maybe we should improve also that. And then the challenge is also the way we can collaborate between each other, and how can we try to change the world together and to put these companies into better values.
So yours is this? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Yeah, the challenge is the network, the spreading, the education, the marketing. Too much challenges.
If we look at the challenge for 1 year, I think it's just this. If we are not able to connect all the different things and get knowledge together between the entire cooperative movement that is now very splintered, then we get these empty-headed people around us. We need to spread the message. That's part 2. This is part 1. We need to connect again. Inter-cooperation is really important. At least reach 1 year. Second thing is that we need to spread again that message, and if that's not succeeded, we won't have the people to support us in the future. And that's, I think, the main challenge for the upcoming year. I could think of a lot more challenges for the upcoming 20 years, but for this year, that's, I think, the most important thing. Yeah. Which one? I think the bridges are the most important.
Richard.
Good. Everybody's writing down.
What you both are saying about the housing in the UK is very expensive, and it's difficult for young people to get to buy
strengthen our strengths.
property.
I could never live in London, or I could never live in London and buy a flat. The only reason I was able to start cooperative was because I had fairly cheap housing and I was able to save up for a year to buy
just don't see it. Sometimes we are still
Vamos terminando.
But most people don't have that.
Problem for young people to
Because most of the time you could be looking at one bedroom flat no living room, just one bedroom, maybe £800 a month, and your hourly wage is 600. Hourly rate of wages is about £7.20 an hour, so you end up spending at least 60-70% of your earnings.
Vale, supuestamente tenemos en la planta central
on one room with no living room in a flat with 5 other people.
Vale, hemos puesto en el medio los retos y hemos escrito los retos en la tarjeta, ¿no? Lo decíamos antes, los retos son esos obstáculos, no son obstáculos, esas miradas que tenemos que superar para conseguir esa foto ideal o esa foto eficaz que hemos creado cada uno de nosotros, ¿vale?
Okay, those challenges we have placed right in the middle of our table are the points of view, okay, that we have to get over with to get our challenge.
Vale, vamos a ir terminando. Y lo decíamos al principio. Perdemos mucha fuerza, mucha energía y las empresas mucho dinero en protocolarizar y en plantearnos qué hacer en caso de, qué hacer en caso de, qué hacer para hacer frente al reto. Vamos a escuchar un segundo, por favor. Mesedez, entzuna, oia bukatzear gauz, Vamos a terminar enseguida. Decíamos que perdemos mucha energía y mucho tiempo muchas veces en protocolarizar y en plantear qué hacer en caso de, qué hacer en caso de, ¿vale? Cuando lo importante no es tanto el qué hacer, sino en cómo hagamos las cosas. Y cuando gente de tan diversos lugares y de tan diferente mirada que os lo habéis demostrado, podéis conseguir un objetivo común de eso que habéis construido, no tanto en el qué hagáis de aquí a mañana o de aquí a un año todos los días, sino en el cómo hagáis las cosas.
Okay, companies lose a lot of time and money thinking about what if we did this or that. And today we can see the important thing is how we do it, okay? And with all the different points of view we had to do it together and to get that challenge we wanted to get.
Entonces la pregunta es diferente. La pregunta es, no qué hay que hacer, sino de aquí a un año, pase lo que pase, sea bueno, malo, imposible, regular, ¿cómo creéis que deberíais hacer frente a las cosas? ¿Vale? Hablamos del cómo, no del qué hacer. No sé si habéis... Bueno, esto me traduces tú, bueno, di esto primero.
Okay, we now, in a year's time, okay, we have to imagine, know what we are going to do or what we would do. But no matter what happens, from now to in a year's time, how would we do it? Okay, this time is how.
Vale, os pongo un ejemplo que igual no es el mejor, pero me vais a entender. ¿Sabéis la película de Indiana Jones del Templo Maldito? Que es un puente de madera, que es una cuerdita que la cruza. ¿Habéis visto la película esa? Por el fondo, ¿habéis visto esa película? Indiana Jones en el Templo Maldito. Vale, ¿alguien os ha explicado alguna vez cómo cruzar ese puente? ¿Habéis hecho algún cursillo de cómo cruzarlo? Y si os encontráis con uno así, ¿cómo lo cruzaríais? ¿Cómo lo cruzaríais? Con los indios de frente, ¿sí? ¿Cómo lo cruzaríais? Pues hay gente que dice, pues despacio, pisaría la madera, me agarraría bien, hay gente que dice corriendo. Ese es el cómo, no el qué hacer para cruzar. Es decir, el cómo es el que nos guíe hacia dónde vamos, no el qué hacer en todos los casos, ¿vale? Trabajar con pasión, desde el respeto, proactivo, cualquier cosa que entendáis os ayude a hacer frente al reto.
Okay, he's talking about the movie Indiana Jones, and if you remember, there was a bridge, like with a thin rope, and how would you go through that bridge? Okay, no, what would you do? How would you go through that bridge? This is.
Entonces, cada uno va a pensar en un cómo y lo va a compartir. Y en la mesa tenéis que elegir entre todos con qué tres os quedáis, ¿vale?
Okay. Now each one of you is going to choose how would you do it, and out of all the table, later you have to choose the three that you think they are the best ones.
¿Cómo hacer frente a los retos? Sean egin aurre erronkei. Zelan horretan, es ser horretan, ¿vale?
How would you face the challenges, okay?
2 minutos para compartir, para hablar y para decidir 3. Venga, 2 minutos.
2 minutes.
¿Cómo conseguir esto?
And I need to write.
No, we need to talk, no?
Construct.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Can we go this way now? So that you will go from here?
Ez, banan egin eta bakarrik gero atzean idatzi dura. Atzean hiruak. Oin bakarrik, you speak, you can say for you, no, which is the more important how, and then you must to choose three, only three, okay? Okay. And write there. Okay.
We're solving different problems, aren't we?
I think we have to talk about the challenges and just choose
How would you
address the challenge.
Yes, how to
This
address
year.
the challenge.
What exactly you are going to do?
ways of addressing the challenge.
Each of us we have to say how, and then we need to choose three. ¿Cómo? How. Pues cada uno tiene que decir el cómo y luego se eligen tres. So,
Can you start?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna take these back again. Because actually the challenge is that we are not going to communicate and not going to have a dialogue, and I think, well, in order to the answer is actually quite simple. If we this year start to meet more, really into a dialogue and not just with a peer group with the same peer group, because not just youngsters but something like this, like we mix youngsters with cooperators from the friends of Aris Mendrieta that I saw here today, and they have to mix. So I think that's, for me, that is the most important, to start mixing up all these cooperators and really listen to each other. Even the ones that are beginning to look like sharks, there is still some cooperative strengths hidden. So we have to, we have to really build up that level.
En un minuto, intentamos.
1 minute.
Actually, that was the thing I said. Building the network. Yeah, building the network and trying to bring back the values not only to people that already have them, but also the people who have lost them. They should realize that if they keep on insisting on the values that they have, they can improve everything around them.
Stretching.
Well, for me, it's to build concrete projects which involve different cooperatives from very different areas or practices or how can I say, traditions, and with also organizations which are outside of the cooperative world, so as to spread what is a cooperative, make it also concrete and real, not only values,
include them.
And include them, bring them into the cooperative movement.
And with that helps us all.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I think the cooperative movement should become the social movement as well, and joins with other currents that are kind of existing nowadays. So it's not just like a network of businesses, it's also a network of cooperators and kind of promoting principles as well as the business models.
Lars, write something.
No. Right.
Sure.
We take our time. It's important to have a good dialogue.
I'm going to write. I have something more than 1,000 connections in my LinkedIn profile, and I want to write in the next year everyone individually and subscribe them into my newsletter, and then send them information, and we'll see what happens. 1,000.
To kind of echo the stuff, I think we need to think about the labour movement as a whole. Cooperative movement being a part of that. Also those working in trade unions, how that can be cooperativized, and how trade unions can also inform the cooperative movement. In the UK there are co-ops who are unionised. But yeah, I think we've got a fractured labour movement, and what we call the cousins, the co-ops and trade unions, need to come together, form a stronger political power for working people.
Do you have anything else?
What happened because
No, not yet. One, just we have to finish.
Okay, finish. Vamos terminando.
Before we said that 1 year was not enough, but at least we could stop and start talking about it and thinking about what to do and make our reflections to think about it. And I think it's important to start designing, putting the ideas together and
Vamos terminando, venga.
start talking about what everyone wants.
Terminamos ya compartiendo.
Start working on it, but make
Vamos a compartir lo que cada mes ha trabajado. Luego se os hará llegar, nos tratará de compilar bien cómo sabemos llegar todo, pero
What did you write?
venga, chicos, un segundo que terminamos ya.
Made some a summary, like we have to really establish the network and spread the knowledge that in the network. The second one that I heard that I found really interesting was like we have to broaden the network to cousin organizations like the whole
churches, trade unions,
exactly.
charity, NGOs.
Because they are the people that are also open to think about these values. And then the last one, it's kind of start concrete projects, but we have to start doing, like experimenting, prototyping instead of just
ahora sí.
Yeah, we have to build with real blocks instead of
show the examples.
Yeah.
Please,
And the last one, buy a football club.
Chicos, un minuto. Y terminamos ya, ¿vale?
Just learning by doing that, maybe what is reality.
Vamos a hacer una cosa. Vamos a hacer una ronda rápida en la que cada mesa va a explicar a los demás cuáles son los retos que han planteado y los cómo, ¿vale?
¿Entre mesas?
Sí, con micrófono. Entonces, vamos a empezar de... No, que nombren un poquitín los retos y los cómo. Empezamos por el final, venga. Nos ponemos de pie, ¿vale?
¿Lo digo? Cada mesa.
Venga, escuchamos un segundo. You can start.
Hello.
Yeah.
So I should start? Okay. So we came up with 9 challenges in our group, and they were finding ways to introduce laws that actually put cooperative education into secondary schools and high schools. The second challenge was international unification to make cooperation work. The third was harnessing the power of values and principles to challenge everything. Creating a common knowledge base that evolves over time to make spaceships. Sustain and create rational agents to bridge theory and practice. Create a feedback circle between business management and social management. Work together with protagonists of social economy. Linking ideas, values, and tools to build new structures. And finding a common goal to bring together different cooperators. And the solutions to these challenges or these aims were through education, through conversation or dialogue, and finally through inspiration. We called it a lighthouse, a cooperative lighthouse.
Okay, thank you very much. Venga, otra mesa.
Bueno, nosotros nos hemos marcado 4 retos en vez de 3.
Muy bien.
En primer lugar, todos a una, bien sea encordada, todos remando a la vez, viejos más jóvenes, en fin, todos a una. En segundo lugar, a contracorriente. En tercer lugar, sin prisa pero sin pausa. Y también incorporando el equilibrio de género a la hora de afrontar los retos.
¿Cuáles eran los retos que salían?
Nuestros retos era, por un lado, comunicar, bajar a las personas.
Sí.
En segundo lugar, crecer, tanto en volumen de negocio como de socios. En tercero, bajar la media de los directivos. En cuarto, bueno, por aquí se decía hasta 30 años. La media, ¿eh?
La media.
Bueno, somos ambiciosos.
La escuchamos.
En cuarto lugar, trasladar el cooperativismo a otras empresas o formas empresariales. En quinto lugar, volver a creer en las personas. En sexto, contribuir a la transformación social. En séptimo, construir un mirador o dedicarnos un año para vislumbrar las metas a donde llegar.
Muy bien, eskerrik asko. Vamos con otro grupo.
Por aquí, Lima.
Venga, que se nos va el tiempo. Solo es leer.
Interiorizar lo que es ser cooperativista, es decir, saber de verdad qué es ser cooperativista, avanzar todos los individuos hacia un mismo objetivo, pedagogía de los valores y aportaciones de los cooperativistas, responsabilidad individual, formación y liderazgo, el cooperativismo entendido desde la gente como base, desde las personas, reinventarnos y asumir nuevos retos a base de una unión de todas las personas, informar, formar, sensibilizar y visibilizar. Ni idea. ¿De dónde están los retos? Que ni idea de dónde están los retos. Enseñar, publicitar y cooperativismo.
¿Y los cómo?
Educación y formación, recursos económicos y liderazgo y visibilización.
Muy bien, eskerrik asko. ¿Más? Venga, vamos terminando.
Nosotros hemos puesto tejer puentes, que es build bridges, compartir, share, abrir la ventana, salir de la zona de confort, open the window and get out of the comfort zone, raise awareness, saber dónde estoy para llegar más allá, where am I now so I can set a path, abrir la mirada del exterior, turn your side towards the outside, empoderar a la persona, empower the people, cambio generacional, garantizando lo que funciona y abriéndose a los nuevos, generational change, assuring the things that are working, but embracing change. ¿Y cómo? How do we do that? Superar el miedo con valentía, overcoming fear with bravely, mirando hacia adelante, looking forward and juntos together.
Coge aire. Muy bien, muchas gracias.
Okay, so our table wrote to attract young people as catalysts of change, to strengthen social leadership, to make the model attractive for young people, to change being able to adapt to the new society, to focus on workers' happiness and well-being, to re-educate people, not just companies, members and workers, but the general population, to embrace our differences and make it a competitive advantage, to change the image and public perception of the co-op movement, to build bridges between the movement and the business world of co-ops. There has to be an investment by companies and representative organizations.
And how?
Okay,
more
okay,
important?
so one, sharing knowledge, experience, engagement and resources. Second, acting, prototyping. And third, changing priorities.
Thank you. Dos últimas mesas.
So we had the next challenges. The first one was to create, again, the culture in cooperative values. Next challenge, teamwork, figuring out the co-op relationship to the commons and the state. Next one is commons. Oh, I cannot read that. Fourth, commons, skating, co-op, news and education. Creating, I think, yeah. Five is the young people to afford homing, yeah, to make it able to afford to buy homes and to distract to think about co-ops. Okay. 6 is build a trust and transparency and better marketing of the cooperative movement. 7 is also about trust in long-term strength and sustainability of the cooperatives. 8 is spread the values, bring back the values to the co-ops that have lost some of them. And 9 is build ways to facilitate the dialogues on the cooperative movement.
Okay, and how?
How we're going to do this? We are going to establish the network and spread the information. Second, we are going to look for like cousin organizations that are worker movements, but churches and all of that. And the third is start acting, learning by doing, and start with experimenting and prototyping.
Okay, thank you. Y la última mesa.
A ver, de retos tenemos debatir cómo hacer crecer los beneficios sociales que comparten otros movimientos, tercer sector, dialogar entre los diferentes agentes, personas, cooperativas, entidades de la economía social para aprender de los errores, fomentar el papel de las personas que forman las cooperativas, formación en valores cooperativos, dándoles las capacidades para la aplicación de estos valores, asegurar sobre la nueva ley el papel del cooperativista a través de la formación cooperativa, coevolucionar hacia una cooperativa más basada en la persona, generar buenos y eficientes equipos directivos con estrategias nuevas a desarrollar en las cooperativas y integrar en la experiencia cooperativa las prácticas que nos permitan avanzar hacia las necesidades futuras.
¿Los cómo?
Cómo, formándonos, empoderándonos y generando liderazgos abiertos al exterior.
Muy bien, muchas gracias. Bueno, esto era un poco la sesión de hoy. Lo que queríamos que hicierais era, por una parte, poner en valor el valor de la persona en sí, entender que a todo el mundo nos mueve lo mismo, partir de un punto de partida en el que entendamos que cada uno ve y vive el cooperativismo de una manera y que el verlo así no es un riesgo, sino una oportunidad. Y 3, que podemos alinear y buscar un objetivo común, que somos capaces de identificar los retos y que no es tan importante el qué hagamos, sino el cómo hagamos las cosas. Y en esos cómo, la responsabilidad es única de cada uno de nosotros. En la medida que seamos capaces de responder desde cada uno de nosotros, conseguiremos los objetivos.
Okay, sorry. Today we wanted you to get to see, first of all, the value of the people more than the value of things. To put everything in common, so you all together can get to that cooperativism that we have seen today.
Por nuestra parte, gure partetik eskerrik asko benetan, hiru hizkuntzatan egitera ez da erreza eta gainera igual dinamika pizkat moteldu egiten da, bueno, saiatu gara ahalik eta egokienean egiten. Gracias por participar, por jugar, por compartir, por estar dispuesto a que aprendamos con todos vosotros y esperemos que lo que se haga, que ahora os intentará Pilar Carán, sirva a vosotros, ¿vale? Eskerrik asko, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for coming, for playing, for sharing, and we hope you have learned something out of this. Thank you.
Eskerrik asko. Eskerrik asko, egin duzuen lan bikainarengatik, esan dute hasieran, beraiek nork agintzen duen, oso ondo agindu du gainera, oso esango nuke ederki bete dugula baita ere, gaurko goitzak berekin zekarren agenda eta etzan batere erresa, ze gauza asko aipatu dira, gauza asko azaldu dira, egin ere egin ditugu gauza asko eta esan diguten bezala eginez ikasten da eta atzekin pentsatzeak era horretako emaitzak ere sortzen ditu. Beraz, ikusi dugu zer eman duen orain artekoak. Bueno, estáis preguntando qué va a pasar con todo esto, porque hay algunos que estaban diciendo, bueno, pues le saco una foto, me quedo con las tarjetas, me quedo con los papeles. Simplemente recordar que tenemos a nuestra disposición, no solamente para esto, sino para cualquier otra cuestión que nos apetezca compartir, el propio foro Forokoop, porque como sabéis no se trata de una reunión de un día ni muchísimo menos, sino de un espacio que nos gustaría que fuese compartido diariamente. Y tenemos la posibilidad de lanzar preguntas, de abrir debates, de buscar respuestas y de buscarlas, como hemos hecho hoy también aquí, de forma compartida. Por lo tanto, me dicen desde la organización que se comprometen, eso es tomar riesgo, a que los resultados de todo lo que ocurra hoy estén más o menos en una semana disponibles en esa plataforma. Por supuesto, también se os enviará un email para deciros que ya está disponible esta información y podréis consultarla y podréis volver a trabajar sobre toda ella. We know that there are a lot of things that perhaps we should have been working with more deeply, and we have a lot of questions and not so many answers. In any case, we'll have everything available in the Forokoop website, so we'll take it and work again with all the issues we have been dealing with during this morning. Okay?